Folks, welcome again to another episode. But before we start this episode, I'm just going to flat out say it. The Montreal Canadiens are going to take Matt V. Michkov. Here we go.
Spicy hot.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to... I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm kidding. I have no frigging clue what is going to happen in this draft. I don't know who I want the Montreal Canadiens to take.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore. I don't know if I care anymore. I do care. But but Shaner, we are four. This show may not last as long as the last couple, because we were days and weeks away the last couple of shows that we did, and these faithful fans have showed up to this channel. And I know I don't normally do this at the beginning of a show. I just normally don't, because I feel like you have to earn subscribers and views and all that stuff. But if you are watching again, just hit that subscribe button. I'm coming up to 4K. The goal is 5K after the draft and free agency. I don't know. This is the time of year if people are interested. So if you are interested in supporting this channel with my lovely friend here joining us, Shaner, and anybody else that joins, don't be shy to hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate it. I don't normally like doing that at the beginning of the show, Shaner, because I'm like, I like to wait for folks to take in the content, decide if they like it, and if they want to stick around, they'll hit those buttons. But I'll put it out there just this time. So anyway, this is exciting, man. Here we are. So we are at the final 2023 draft rankings. We're going to share with you Bob Mckenzie and Craig Button specifically. We're going to look at their draft lists. Craig actually released a mock draft, whereas Bob, as we know, grabs a consensus from all the scouts that he's in touch with and all the contacts he's in touch with around the NHL that are ranking the players not based on which team is going to take them, but where they're going to end up in the draft, the consensus. And then we have yours, Shaner, which I'm going to throw up on the screen in a minute here as well. But for right now, the Montreal Canadiens, this is crazy, man, because there's a lot of changes. There's guys that have risen. There's guys that have dropped in value or in stock, but at the end of the day, this is it. Like, this is it, man. Like, teams are going to make their choices. And what are you sensing? Because like, it's crap or get off the pot with all these players now, man. Like, this is it.
Drew, this draft is giving me heavy 2015 vibes. Like, we look back at that draft class, how loaded it was in the first round and even beyond. I'm getting the same feel here. Okay, right? We have a generational talent going first overall. There's no intrigue in that. Okay, we already know who the Blackhawks are taking. They don't even have to go to the podium. Just give him his jersey already.
Get it over with. Yeah.
But beyond that, right? Everyone's saying Adam Fantilli's going second, and most likely he will. But there has been a report that Pat Verbeek could be interested in going the Michkov route or even the Leo Carlsson route. So at pick 2, that's when it starts, right? That's when the intrigue starts. And I think the peak of this draft will be 4 and 5, because nobody knows what's going to happen, right? So this is a really, really exciting draft, Drew. I cannot wait.
It's pretty crazy, man. Like, just to think that it's like, for Montreal fans specifically, like, anybody who tunes into this channel knows that that's the focus of this channel majority, if not all the time, pretty much, because we love our team. And this is just a time in the rebuilds. It's only the second year of Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton, right? This is their second draft, and it's monumental. Like, this is a big deal, and it's only one player and all that kind of thing, but the amount of talent, like, that's why I've been high on Ryan Leonard, as you know. I've been questionable on the Michkov front, but now Will Smith is entering the fold. So as possibly being available at 5, if San Jose, if the plan goes, let's just say, Bedard, Fantilli, Carlsson, Michkov, possibly San Jose taking them at 4, like you suggested, you think they should, right? And then like Will Smith just falls right into the lap of the Montreal Canadiens. So is that the best case scenario, or is it still having Michkov available at 5 and just having more controversy and drama? I don't know if I want that. I don't know. Like, it's just too much, man.
Man, I really wish I was listening to those draft conversations with all the scouts, because that would be really interesting. But that's another point, right? The Habs have their cards held to their chest. No, absolutely nobody knows what they're doing right there. There's Reinbacher, someone saying, oh, no, it's going to be Leonard. Oh, but it's Will Smith. No, it's Michkov. Like, nobody knows. And that's awesome, because as like up until Kent Hughes steps to the podium and says, all right, Montreal Canadiens are proud to select, We have no idea what he's going to say. And that's a lot of fun. Like, that adds intrigue to the draft. But like you said, San Jose should 100% take Michkov, unless they meet with him in the next few days and they realize he's, character issues and all that, which I don't know, right? I'm speculating here, but if they realize that, okay, no, we're not going to take him, they're going to take Will Smith, and that leaves Montreal in a pickle. And here's what I think could happen, or what I would do, right? Give a quick call to the Arizona Coyotes. They own the number 6 and number 12 draft spots. Say, hey, how much you need for those 2 picks? Give number 5, give number 31, and something else for 6 and 12. You move back 1, but you gain another pick in the top 15. So you could leave there with like Zach Benson and some other stud if they absolutely don't want Michkov. If they do want Michkov, please take him. Please take him. Okay. You will regret it the rest of your life if you don't. That's point blank and simple. Like, when Connor Bedard and Matvei Michkov played against each other, Michkov was superior. I mean, that's insane because Connor Bedard is a generational talent. Everybody can agree on that. But Michkov has such a high potential, and he's hidden away in Russia. Nobody can see what he's doing. All we see is his stat sheets. But the potential is there, man. And I think San Jose should take him, really. Like, there's no debate about that.
Well, they're about to find out. So I think we'll talk about this then. The fact that teams are going to meet with Michkov before the draft. So we know that Matvei Michkov has landed in North America, is in New York City today, you're saying, or something like that. Yeah. And he's going to be heading to Nashville soon, and he'll be meeting with clubs within the top 10 for sure. He's going to have to accommodate a lot of clubs, and they're going to have to happen really quick, these interviews, right? So I'm not sure if they're going to happen the day before. I would imagine the day before or 2 days before the draft. But you got a lot of people talking Washington, bringing Ovechkin 2.0 to Washington, and taking him. And I don't see how he ends up in Washington's lap. How? Like, you can't let a player this talented drop, no matter. I know the situation over there and everything, but like, some team is going to have the boldness before Washington at number 8 to take him.
Drew, I'm going to break my TV if he falls below 5. There's no possible way that happens, but it could. Like, he could generally go from 2 to 15 because nobody knows
That's
which
crazy,
GM
man.
is going to have the balls to do it, right? And it's not even, you don't even need that much balls. You just need a bit of hockey sense. Okay, this guy will change your franchise in 3 years. Draft him. What's the difference between waiting 2 years for a prospect that's not yet ready or waiting 3 years for a prospect that's going to change your team? I don't get it. Like, this discussion is stupid, and a lot of people are doubting that he'll go top 10. What? Absolutely not. Listen, I said this already. If he was born Matthew Mitchell from British Columbia, he'd be going number 2. Because he is Matvei Michkov of Russia with a 3-year contract. That's why we're talking about him at 5. Absurd. Yep. Absurd.
It is absurd. He's not going past 10. There's no chance. I would say there's no chance he's getting to Washington. I don't think so, but I don't know what those meetings are going to look like. That's going to dictate a lot of it, right? When they get to know Matvei Michkov, the person, because that's the thing they don't know enough about is him, the person. They know the geopolitical situation in Russia with the war and everything. And I'll even just say this, like, still prayers go out to Ukraine, because like that's just needs to end sooner than later. But when it comes to the person of Matvei Michkov, that's the biggest question mark. The talent is not the question mark. No. Maybe the attitude, all these things, these questions are gonna, like, the Montreal Canadiens apparently at the combine were drilling these guys with questions and really trying to dig deep into who these people are, right? Not just the players, who the people are. So this is going to tell a lot of teams what they hopefully need to know before making this choice, correct?
That's it. Because not just the Habs, but most NHL teams want to build a culture, right? They want a selfless player that will buy into the team, right? That will give his all for the team to win and not play for himself. And from what we've heard about Michkov, he is that kind of guy. He is obsessed with winning. So like, again, I don't see how his character could be an issue. If anything, he's too intense. Like, he wants to win too much. I don't know, Drew. Like, any reports saying that he might have character issues. He's a locker room cancer. What are you basing yourself off of? Like, anybody who's been around him that has been interviewed has said the same thing. He is obsessed with winning. That's all he wants, is to win. And he just so happens to be a really talented player. So there's no way he falls after 5. No way.
Yeah.
I refuse.
I pity the fool who thinks that he'll drop after 5. Yeah. Well, how true is that though, man? Like, that's just it. Like, it's so intriguing. It's so interesting. And I cannot wait to see who takes them. And hopefully we get a little bit of information. There's just going to be rumblings everywhere before Wednesday about how the interviews went, you know what I mean? Like, somebody's going to leak something. They have to, right? Like,
for sure.
About how those interviews went. Okay, I want to get into the mock drafts and the mock rankings. Well, not mock rankings, but let's get into Bobby Mack and his final draft rankings, because they're very reliable. I learned the hard way last year trying to the whole Shane Wright Slavkovsky thing, which fans will always know that I was really, you and I both kind of were the other way. We were Shane Wright, and then I have a Slavkovsky jersey in my closet now. So
we've converted.
Either way. What's that?
We've converted.
We've converted.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly. You saw him in person. We're on the Slav train. We got the t-shirt made, everything. All right. So Bobby Mack, we got his draft rankings here, man. And where we have seen guys rise, we've seen Will Smith as high as 3, but we've seen him drop to 4. Matvei Michkov stays at 5. Ryan Leonard has bumped up, I think, to 6. Dvorsky's jumped up to 7th. Reinbacher right there at 8. Zach Benson at 9. Gabe Perreault 10. Matthew Wood, and then it carries on. And actually, I can go a little further down, and we see Colby Barlow, who I have seen play in the OHL with the Owen Sound Attack, and then you got your buddy Axel Sandin Pellikka, who Craig Button feels is the best defenseman in this draft over Reinbacher. So a lot of intrigue, man. A lot of intrigue here with this list from Bobby Mack, who I bumped into on the way to a Habs game. Bobby Mack is a legend for a reason. He's a stud. I love his approach, and his approach is as non-biased as possible.
Yeah.
Craig Buttons is kind of the other way. I think Craig gets too excited like I do. Like, you get zeroed in on certain players and you're just like sold, before they're even drafted. So what do you make of Bobby Mack's list here, pal?
Well, I'll start at 7 with Dalibor Dvorsky. That's an interesting slot to put him in, because he's going to go top 10. I don't think he goes beyond. He's a very coveted center. A lot of teams are going to want him, but as high as 7 is interesting. Philly taking him, I don't quite see the fit there, but again, with Daniel Brière at the helm of that team now, you can't expect, like, it's going to be a different philosophy in Philadelphia. And then Zach Benson at 9. Oh man, that guy is going to make GMs punch themselves in the head. Like, how did I not draft this kid? He's going to make people look foolish. This is Cole Caulfield all over again, right? Oh, he slipped to 15 because he's too small. He's 5'10". He's not too small. Hello. Like,
no.
The complete bullshit excuse that makes no sense. He is, like, I saw a graphic somebody made, like, advanced analytics about his playmaking. He is the best playmaking prospect since McDavid. Hello. So Zach Benson going beyond 7 should be a crime, and it will likely happen, which makes me mad.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because it shows how deep the draft class is, but that just makes the decision of these teams harder. No, like, yeah. I mean,
but it's a prehistoric mindset, right? They're always thinking about, I got to get the big guy, and sometimes the big guy is what you need, right? But a player of the talent that Zach Benson has, you can't teach that kind of talent. He has it. You can teach around that, right? You can teach him how to be an NHLer, how to succeed in the NHL, but he has the talent. You know this already. He's the best player on the Winnipeg Ice with players like Connor Geekie and Matthew Savoy on there. You run to the stage to draft this guy. I'm very high on Zach Benson. A lot of people aren't, which I don't understand. Every clip I've seen of this guy is electric. We've talked about his compete level as well, right? He is a dog on the ice. He will go in the corners, even though he's undersized.
Mhm.
And he said that he's working on his physicality. He wants to be more physical. He wants to be stronger. He understands. He gets it. And one of my favorite journalists, Anthony Martineau, has done a tremendous job covering the draft so far. And he said that his interview with Zach Benson blew him away because of how high his hockey IQ is. The kid's brilliant. He understands hockey. I'm very high on Zach Benson, as high as number 5. I'd be thrilled if the Habs picked him.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get there, but I do think that that's an interesting take in for me. That's the thing, Mick. I do not envy GMs in this draft at all, and I never really would because I'm just not a scout. But man, that's just I haven't heard you go off on about Zach Benson. I didn't expect that. But again,
yep,
that's who's. So Bobby's got him once again. He's got him up here at number 9, like you said. I have an interesting take on Ryan Leonard now because I've been tooting his horn quite a bit for the last little while, as fans know. So to me, these are the Habs' most likely draft choices. I think.
No, I agree.
Will Smith, Michkov, Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of who I have. I think it's going to be one of these 3 players, more than likely, with Will Smith possibly dropping to 5. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how you look at it, though, right? But I mean, Bob's got him at 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And then Michkov at 5. Like, it's just the Michkov Montreal Canadiens story is going to be just fascinating to see what develops. It's just going to be interesting to see who comes to us at 5 because I just have no clue still. It's all San Jose for me to see who they take. But going back to Ryan Leonard for a second here, he's at 6th here. Craig Button's got him listed at 12th, which is interesting. It's like, twice the, he's further projected just down the road for Craig. But regardless, I think that Ryan Leonard would be a great fit potentially with the Philadelphia Flyers at number 7.
I agree. Yeah, that's where I have him in my rankings.
I keep bringing it up because I keep forgetting. I'm like, I gotta keep. I'll keep anyway. But what are your thoughts on that? Because actually, here's what I'll say. I'll just say my quick take on Ryan Leonard because I think I've done more research on him. Of course, Elite Prospects released a video 3 days ago saying how Ryan Leonard is just going to terrorize NHL teams. I'm like, of course he would do that to me. You would make the selection even harder for me as a fan. But love the way he plays. Love his motor. Love his explosive skating. Love his shot. His physicality is top notch. Reminds you of a Matthew or a Brady Tkachuk. Yeah. We saw what happened to Matthew Tkachuk in the Stanley Cup Finals, breaking his sternum, unable to finish the Stanley Cup Finals. Devastating. I can't imagine Montreal being without one of their top players in the Stanley Cup Final. So when it comes to taking that kind of player, as much as we missed out on Brady in 2018 and took KK instead, I know that. However, it does concern me about injuries when it comes to a player. I'm not trying to declare injuries over a player. That's not what I'm trying to do. Put any bad vibes out there, but I am concerned about the level of physicality, as weird as this sounds, with Ryan Leonard. I don't know, man. Like I'm starting to wonder if we would rather go for the top playmaker in Will Smith if he's available. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to wonder because some few people think Ryan Leonard has a higher ceiling than Will Smith. I have no idea who has the higher ceiling, but what's your sense of these two guys? Like, do you understand where I'm coming from on Ryan Leonard? I have a bit of concerns with. We saw the injury situation in Montreal last year. We know how it went. I kind of have some concerns about a guy who is going to put his body on the line as much as Ryan Leonard might, like a Matthew or Brady Tkachuk.
It's certainly a valid concern to have, right? Like we're accustomed to it now. We've broken the record for man games lost 2 years in a row, so we understand this aspect very well. But as far as I know, neither player are injury prone. Like they haven't suffered any significant injuries so far in their career. But again, it's not at the NHL level. To me, bottom line, you take a forward at 5. And the reason for that is because Kent has said multiple times he's taken the best player available. The best player available at 5 will be a forward. Okay, you can say whatever you want about Reinbacher, Axel, Sandin, Pelika, all the other defensemen. They're going to be fantastic, great defensemen. The forward group in this draft class is what reminds me of that 2015 class. This draft class will be talked about for years as one of the most offensively powerful drafts we've seen in recent memory, and we can get a serious offensive weapon at 5. Now, Ryan Leonard scored 51 goals in 57 games, damn near a goal per game pace, which is very impressive. Now, Will Smith is a dynamic forward, offensively minded, very creative, not afraid to make the dangerous play, and usually works. He's got balls. Now, either player, I'm fine with, honestly. And your concern is valid with Leonard's physicality, but at the same time, I think that'll translate well to the NHL level. And if he's well coached, right, the right people show him how to hit, how to get hit, how to avoid hits, all that stuff, I think he'll be fine. And that compete level that he has will help whichever team drafts him tremendously. So I'm very high on both of these guys.
It's maybe a weird concern to have in a sense, because I mean, when you get into the playoffs, I mean, Shea Weber's career ended, Carey Price's career ended, Matthew Tkachuk, we saw what happened with him. Guys just put their bodies on the line. There's a lot more guys that were hurt. Aaron Ekblad was another example on Florida, and just put their bodies on the line to win this trophy that we all just absolutely are so excited about, bringing a 25th cup to Montreal to celebrate.
Yeah,
that's what we want. That's what that's like the end goal of building this team and cheering them on and everything. We know that we want to celebrate that 25th cup on St. Catherine Street in Montreal. That's what we want, right? So
you said it.
I just think that I don't want it to. I'm not trying to scare myself off from drafting Leonard. Everyone knows how high I've been on him, but because when you watch him, again, the high motor, the explosive skating, the fearlessness, the fact that he hates to lose.
Yeah,
just all the attributes there, and just the comparison like to a Matthew or Brady, who we missed out on again before. If he's coached properly, like you said, and we have the new training staff coming in soon too, maybe, just maybe, they can find a way to have him harness, that part of his game to the point where he has a long career, and he has the ability to be heavily involved in a long playoff run eventually with the Canadiens. So, but dude, I got to talk Will Smith with you for a minute here, because this guy, as much as Kent Hughes previously coached him in his younger playing days, and that's a connection there. It's all about what San Jose does here. I feel like, I don't know, maybe Columbus takes Will Smith or takes Michkov. Who knows? I mean, Carlson is, we feel like he's a lock for Columbus too, but Will Smith, if he does come to the Canadiens at 5, what if it's Will Smith and Michkov, man? Like, what do you do there? What do you, Shaner? What do you do?
If both are available, man, that's interesting, right? Because you could make a move with Arizona to move down. Let's say they really want Michkov, move down, take Smith at 6, right? So again, I feel honestly there's going to be some trades on the floor come June 28th. Hard to predict which teams, but I feel like there will be moves. But if I'm honing in on Will Smith here, let me just put this picture in your mind, okay? You have arguably the most creative, dynamic forward in the draft class, coached by Martin St. Louis. Picture that for a second, Drew. I mean, that gets me excited right there, okay? This is a guy that will benefit so much from having a coach that lets him try things, because that's what Will Smith does, right? He'll come up with plays that you've never seen before, and he'll make them happen. So having a coach that trusts you to do that and gives you all the opportunities to shine offensively, he's a perfect fit. He is my guy at 5, okay? That's what I have on my ranking, because I think Michkov will go to San Jose. You just can't pass up on a player like that. But if Will Smith is available, I'm taking him. No questions about it.
So you're willing to pass on Michkov. You were pretty high on Michkov.
I am. But I think Will Smith will fit better in the team, right? He'll be here. Okay. So he'll have 1 year of college. That's all he'll need. Okay. 1 year at Boston College. He'll dominate with Ryan Leonard, Okay, they're going to be playing together. I think the year after that, he'll be making the jump, and he'll challenge Suzuki for that number 1 center spot. We say we're loaded at center, but we have Doc that can play center and wing, right? That's a big plus.
Yep.
So you can put him in different situations. Will Smith is a pure center, right? The offensive output. Think of the power play. Like, again, you can't go wrong with Michkov. If we take him, I'll be thrilled. But I think if Will Smith is there at 5, that's my guy.
Okay. I appreciate that. I'm going to stay silent on this one. You know what I'm thinking. Oh, you know what I'm thinking. Okay. So, and I should mention, by the way, I want to mention your hat. I wanted to welcome you off the top, by the way, Shane Gaumont of the Sick Podcast, officially, sir. So once again, congrats, my friend. And honestly, like, I mean that because now it is made official. It's on your profiles. It's everywhere. But Shane Gaumont joining us from the Sick Podcast, just a reminder, guys. But yeah, this has me thinking. Okay, so I want to ask you this, and we haven't had a chance to talk about it really because I don't think the possibility. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But Will Smith is the best center, you say. Okay. If there's a slim, small, slight glimmer chance that Kent Hughes tries to trade up for Adam Fantilli and Will Smith, what do you got there? What's the difference between those players? Is Fantilli worth trading a whole bunch of assets for? What do you think, man?
I don't know. Okay, because the asking price is going to be too much, right?
Yeah.
Anaheim is not going to give up the 2nd overall for the 5th and like an A-level prospect.
31st.
They're going to ask for the farm,
Yeah.
right? If we were talking about Connor Bedard, if there was a chance to trade up for Bedard, I'm giving everything. I'm giving everything, right? But we're talking about 2 different players here.
Yeah.
Although I think Fantilli is going to go number 2, and he should. Tremendous player, right? I don't think whatever price Anaheim asks of us will be beneficial for us in the end, right? If let's say they ask for Slav, which is a very real possibility, you're giving up Will Smith and Slav for Fantilli. That doesn't outweigh, I think Slav's potential is tremendous. And then you pair that with a top 5 prospect and Will Smith for number 2. I just don't see it, right? It's like trading number 1 and 5 for number 2. That doesn't make sense. Anybody who thinks that we should trade Slav is out of their rocker, okay? That makes no sense. Now, what else could they ask, right? Like Suzuki, Caulfield? Hell no. Hang up the phone right away. So,
that was like the Jack Eichel rumors. It was like those 2 were the non-starters, right?
Get out of here. That's baloney. But whatever Anaheim asks for the number 2 is going to be too much. And rightfully so, right? They know they have the power. They have Fantilli right now, and he's a coveted player for sure. But it's in their best interest to overprice that number 2 and get more than they deserve for it, or just get Fantilli. So I don't think it'll happen. No way in hell.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you there. That's why this is a short segment. That's the end of it. So, okay, let's get into Craig Button, our boy Craig, who has some interesting takes here, pal. Like, this is a mock draft, right? So let's get into it because it is different, at least in terms of, like, draft. I know it's a mock draft versus draft rankings, which is different. This is actually who Craig thinks that are the best fits with what teams should take these players, etc. So the first 3 are no surprise. This is Craig's. Okay, I thought I had Bob's up for a second still, but 1 to 4 is the same exact as Bob Mckenzie. Number 5 is where your boy Will Smith appears in Craig's rankings. And then we got Matthew Wood for Arizona, who jumped up here from NCAA. I don't even know if many people know who Matthew Wood is. I'm just going to be honest with you because I have not looked into him very much. I'm not going to lie. Okay. Not going to lie to our audience. But what do you make of, let's say, 5 from Will Smith down all the way to who I'm going to scroll down a little further so fans can actually see this, including myself. we've got Dvorsky at number 12. We've got Zach Benson at 13, Shaner. We've got Gabe Perreault at 15. Like, these are some interesting takes here, pal. What do you make of them?
Oh man, I mean, we have to talk about Zach Benson at 13 for a second here because that is egregious. If a team can get Zach Benson at 13, they've won the lottery essentially. Like this is a top 6 prospect at 13. Are you kidding me? That's not going to happen. If it does, I'm like I told you, I'm breaking my TV. But Matthew Wood at 6 is interesting. I am fairly high on Matthew Wood, not as far as 6. That's a bit extreme, but I do have him going 11 to Vancouver. I think that's a good fit. But yeah, Matthew Wood is a big boy, 6'4", right? Big winger. And I think he has a ton of potential in the NHL. So I do think he'll go fairly high. Colby Barlow at 9 is also a bit high, but I get it, right? That's a natural goal scorer. He could go all over the place, honestly. Like he's a very interesting prospect. And Tom Willander is a riser for sure. I also have him in my top 16. Fantastic defenseman, really broke out for when he played for Sweden there. So really interesting to see what pans out. But this is one of the better Craig Button mock drafts that I've seen in recent history, because some of the others he's had were brutal. This one also has some tough takes there, but honestly acceptable for the most part.
Okay. Well, fair enough then, because I think that it's so hard to predict, but some guys like, I think, what is it? We don't have Grant's rankings up here because it's behind his paywall, whatever. But I did download his draft book, and he's got Dvorsky as high as, I think he's got him at 3. He's got him in the top 5.
Yeah, top 5, I believe. Or no, I think he dropped a little. I think he went to 6. Okay. We had Grant on the show with Tony recently, and right. Grant is of the opinion that the Habs will take or should take Reinbacher, which I thought was interesting. His reasoning behind that is actually fairly good. I respectfully disagree. I much respect to Grant, who is a sweetheart, by the way, great guy. But
yes, he is.
You can't pass up on the offensive potential in this draft. And I don't even think Reinbacher is the best defenseman in this draft. But again, I view defensemen differently than most. But again, he's going to have an impact in the NHL. Like, he's going to be a lock for a top 4 pairing. There's no debate about that. He's going to be a great defenseman. I'm just not as high as everyone else is on him.
Yeah, and it's hard, right? Because you're going by organizational need as well. Like, that's where the Canadiens are having a bit of a maybe challenge, right? Because
see, that's a mistake, right? That's a mistake. If you're drafting in the top 15 in the draft and you're going by need, we've seen how that goes, right? We drafted KK because we needed a center, even though he was far from the best player available. Even back in 2018, we knew that he wasn't the best player available at 3. But we took him anyways because of his position, which I think is a grave mistake. Anybody who does that regrets it, right? So, prospects are 18 years old. They're not going to translate to the NHL right away unless you're a Connor Bedard, a McDavid. Those guys are just built different. You're going to have some time to bring them to an NHL level. And by that time, your needs are going to be different than they were when you drafted him. So you take the best player available and build around that player. That is 101 of drafting. Anybody who understands hockey knows this, but somehow some GMs still make the mistake. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think the Canadiens can afford to make that mistake this time. So I think I'm with you. I'm so with you on the forward selection, though. Like, we really need another forward, to me, in my mind. I know that Reinbacher with Lane Hutson sounds great, but like, how do you know? Like that was Grant's take. How do you know though that that's going to be a great pairing for sure? If you go look at the play styles, then yeah, absolutely. But we still don't even know what we have in. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to blank on his name. We still don't know what we have in London Knights. Oh my gosh, drawing a defensive Logan Mailloux. Yes, thank you. That happens sometimes, brain fart. But yeah, we just don't know. We know that he's offensively gifted. Reinbacher is not necessarily an offensive defenseman, but he has a lot of other attributes, including his size. So anyway, it's tough, but I don't think the Canadiens should reach for him at 5, like you said. Absolutely not. In my opinion, I'm still not on that train at all. Okay, so here are Shaner's. I had to get this pulled up, so it's a screenshot here. I think it might have. Oh no, it's got all 15. So you got your top 15, Shaner. So I love it. So you really have a nice organization here. I'm going to go off to the side a little bit, so there you can. I'll even give Shaner the time and space. So I want you to have a chance to break these down for folks, Shaner, because these are your picks specifically. A little bit similar, like you said, to Craig and Bob a little bit, but well, Bob's rankings are different. They're just by player and who's best. So why don't you go down your list here? You've got San Jose taking Michkov at 4, and you've got Will Smith also at 5. But you got Zach Benson at number 6, which I love.
You're goddamn right. I do, Drew, and he should go 6th. Okay, Arizona. Imagine pairing him with Dylan Guenther, Clayton Keller, like that. Come on, you have to do that. And I think Ryan Leonard at 7 in Philly is a fantastic fit. Great value for that pick at 7. Dvorsky is also going to be a coveted forward, great center, good size. Now, Oliver Moore, I find to be underrated for some reason. He is the best skater in this draft. Like he's got some serious wheels, right? And he can play. Yeah. So imagine him with like, because he's also a center, right? So imagine the top 2 centers of Dylan Larkin and Oliver Moore. Going to put teams in a blender. Okay, so I'm fairly high on Oliver Moore. I think he'll be a fantastic player. And I do have St. Louis taking Sandin Pelech. I think he is, in my opinion, the best defenseman in this draft. Great puck mover, offensively minded, but also not a defensive liability. He's not the biggest, whatever, who cares? Look at Quinn Hughes. Look at what he's done, right? Now, I'm not saying he's the next Quinn Hughes. They do play a sort of similar style, and I think that players like Sandin Pelech are crucial to an NHL team's success. He'll be a power play quarterback. He'll drive the offense. I think St. Louis gets a great defenseman here. Again, Vancouver getting Matthew Wood. We talked about this quickly. And then Arizona getting David Reinbacher. Imagine walking away to the draft with Zach Benson and Reinbacher, right? That's what Arizona could do. Or, as I mentioned, that's what Montreal could do if they decide to trade back, right? Get the 6th and the 12th. You leave there with Benson and Reinbacher. That's a W. I'd take that for sure.
Or Leonard and Reinbacher.
Oh, or Leonard. Yeah, that's it. Like, whoever you want. Like 6 and 12 are going to be great picks.
I'd be good for that. Yeah.
Again, I don't know what Arizona wants for those picks, but I'd entertain the idea of moving down, honestly. But I do like Will Smith a lot. And then, honestly, from 13 down is so unpredictable. I just threw up names that I think are good fits, but you never know. Like Gabe Perreault has such a high offensive potential. I think he's a lock for top 15. Anything below that would be a steal, in my opinion. And then same with Colby Barlow, right? Natural goal scorer. Nate Danielson is a power forward, I think fits well on Nashville. And then the defenseman that rose up in a lot of rankings there, Tom Willander, I think Calgary could take. So again, anything under like 8 is so unpredictable. Could go any which way, but that's just how I see it for now. Yeah.
I liked your rankings, man. Those are fun.
Thank you.
Those are fun. It's cool to hear your thoughts specifically with your own rankings, because you put your own thoughts into it, and obviously this is how we're kind of ending this episode, is with your rankings, which I like, though, because it leaves fans with some food for thought, and you really have some good ideas here, in my opinion. Like I follow the Sabres a little bit, another divisional rival kind of, but Gabe Perreault is an interesting pick for them because they have depth on defense with Owen Power, with oh my gosh, these names drawing blanks is Dahlin. Thank you, number 1 draft pick. They have some depth there, but they could probably use a right shot. I think Reinbacher. I don't know if Reinbacher is going to drop that low to Buffalo at 13, though. It's hard to say.
Doubt it. A lot of teams are very high on Reinbacher.
I doubt it as well.
Me having him at 12 is considered low. But I think there's so much offensive output in this draft, and he's not an offensively minded defenseman that I just don't rate him as high as others. But again, he's going to be a tremendous NHL defenseman.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Like that, I'm not disputing that at all. But it just, who's the best available at that slot? And I do think, again, Ryan Leonard, like just the style that he plays, I could really see him I could really see Philadelphia Flyers fans really liking that kind of player. So the
great
fact that you
fit
had him
there.
there,
Yeah.
I think I actually thought about him being a Philadelphia Flyer before I saw your rankings, and that's if he makes it to 7, and he could. But either way, I don't think I guarantee you, whatever fan base has Ryan Leonard as their draft pick will not be disappointed at all to see him play. So that's
for sure.
that's what, you know what, we'll leave on this final thought again. And I did put Will Smith, Michkov, and Leonard as the 3 players that I believe the Canadiens are going to be picking between the most, sort of like last year, Slafkovsky, Wright, and Cooley. I think it's a lot harder of a choice this year, in my opinion. But it's hard to turn away from Will Smith. Again, down the middle, you win the middle, you win. What do they say? They win them. You. Why am I stuttering here? You win the middle, you win the ice, or you win long term in the playoffs, right? So
that's it.
With a guy like Will Smith, I mean, if you do end up having the boldness to take Michkov, you got a really strong scorer. You got Nick Suzuki and Kirby. Some people think Kirby Dach could take the number 1 center spot, man. They think they could.
He could.
He could.
Yeah.
He could be that guy. I don't know. I don't know, but I know that it's a good problem to have these choices. And
exactly,
this is it, man. This, like I mentioned stuff at the start of this show, this is it. It's going to be Will Smith, Matvei Michkov, or Ryan Leonard for me, for the Montreal Canadiens to select. That's who I think it's between. I'll be shocked if it's not. I genuinely will. I'm open-minded, though. I am open-minded, so I am curious. I cannot wait, man. Just to let fans know once again, live stream this Wednesday, round 1 of the draft. Shaner, unfortunately, will be on the Sick podcast. Not unfortunately, they're very fortunate to have you, as we know, but I would love to have you on here for the live stream, but you will be busy doing their show, and I will be bringing on Anik and Brandon from Habs tonight, a little reunion show, if you will, on the Drew Deeks channel. Shaner would love to be here if he could. He knows that. And also Hockey Junkie, my buddy Matt from Nova Scotia, the hilarious, lovable Habs creator that I've become good friends with also. And I've got another guest to announce on the night of the draft coming on this channel, who I can't wait to bring on. I will tease that now and deliver that to you Wednesday on the live stream on this channel. So, Shaner, who are they going to take, man? Put it in here. Put it in there. Who's coming to the Habs?
Michael Hrabal.
Who?
Maybe with 31. Hopefully, that's a great goalie.
We didn't even talk about 31. Like we
31 is so unpredictable. Like you have no idea what's going to happen there. But again, there's going to be some great players available there and potential for trading up. So remains to be seen. But Michael Hrabal is my goalie. I would love to have him. But to answer your question, my good sir, I am all aboard the Will Smith train, baby.
I already had it up.
You know it. You know it.
Let's go, buddy. Let's go. I am just fascinated because I think we're going to get a really good player, but I'm curious to see how that Michkov interview goes. I'll be shocked if Will Smith is available at 5, like San Jose will be kind of doing us a favor almost. Like, I don't know. I say that, but like for how good Michkov is probably going to be, somebody's going to regret it. Somebody's going to regret not taking him. I don't know. Like it's so hard. Like there's no perfect scenario. You have to pick one. You have to pick one player. So there's no perfect pick unless you're picking Connor Bedard, maybe. Like that's a given and everything.
It's the easiest pick of the draft.
Easiest by far. But it's going to get real soon. So anyway, folks, if you've stuck to the end, if you have, I thank you again. Please hit the like button to support the video, to spread to more fans like yourselves. I still can't believe the numbers in the last couple of shows with Shaner, but I still tell folks it is the Shane show for me. I'm not trying to pump his ego. I'm trying to credit a genuinely good human being over there, and you, my friend. So you are the straw that stirs the drink for these shows for me. I love your insight. I love the way you think about hockey and being a Habs fan. It's a blast. It's a blast to have you on, pal. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for all this pre-draft coverage, my man. It's been great. And after this, we'll be talking about who we actually picked. Finally.
Yeah, we'll know.
Can't wait, man. So all the best to you on your show on the Sick podcast. And we'll be doing our thing on mine, and we'll meet in the middle afterwards. And then all of a sudden it's free agency. So, which I don't think will be quite as active. The draft is way more intriguing for Habs fans personally for me, but we know that. So anyway, thank you everybody for watching. Appreciate it. Cannot wait for this draft. It is going to be something. It's going to be a show. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time after the 2023 NHL Entry Draft. It's going to get good, folks. It's going to get real. Thank you for watching, everybody. Appreciate it.